Now helping to provide some insight into all of these developments is Fred Teng. He's president of the America-China Public Affairs Institute. Fred, this was a very historic and momentous occasion. China sent its congratulations for a positive inter-Korean summit. So how closely were they watching, and just how important was it for them to see what happened there?
I'm sure that China has been watching it very closely. Certainly for China, a peaceful Korean Peninsula is very important because these are two neighboring countries of theirs. They certainly do not want to see any border conflicts and definitely not the U.S. intervention or attack on North Korea.
You know, the foreign ministry came out and said that, quote, China stands ready to continue to play its positive role to this end, end quote. What will China do to help the Korean peace process along? Is it more about navigating perhaps other countries in the region or interacting with the United States?
Well, first of all, I think that this is really an internal matter between North and South Korea. Without the leaders of North Korea and South Korea willingness to work with each other, I don't think this will happen. China will play a major role, so does the United States. As you can see, President Moon is already giving credit to President Trump, so he just wants to make sure that the United States getting the credit as well.
And that being said, you know, things certainly look a lot different than just a few months ago. What do you think the catalyst was that led up to this historic meeting? I know you mentioned the United States, but was it perhaps the Winter Olympics?
Well, the Winter Olympic was kind of like a linchpin because, first of all, South Korea extended the gesture welcoming North Korea to be there, and President Kim Jong-un sent his sister, which is very high level, and they're able to, the athletes being able to march together. These are all symbols of unifying together, and I think that's a very, very good start, which shows that both sides have a willingness to work with each other. Very much like the ping-pong diplomacy between United States and China in the early stage.
And you know, there was a lot of goodwill and feelings since this summit, but what more needs to happen and what challenges remain ahead?
I think that there will be a lot of negotiation going on, and I think the expectation might be different from both sides, even though when you're talking about denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, everybody's expectation is different. But with these two leaders, if they're very key, because this time it comes from the very top level with a vision and then driving the detail. In the past, North and South Korea have tried to work with each other, but they used ministers. So lower level staff try to negotiate the detail first without looking at the bigger vision in the future. So I think this will go on for a decade. And the U.S. troops stationed over there, those situations will change, whether the military exercise still necessary. But I think for their neighboring countries like China and Japan and even Russia, they all want to see a peaceful between the North and South Korea.